following is a paid program. Talk 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IBX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genois Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, your host for the next 30 minutes. Glad you joined me. And I'd love for you to join me with a phone call. It's much better when people call in. I know we're talking about something that interests them. I do have some information to give you, but call during this first break. Actually, it'll be about 2 minutes. Give you plenty of time. We'll take your call first when we come back. But the number is help me.
561-8255.
561-8255. Gosh, how can I forget a number I've said thousands of times? 561-8255. 561-TALK, if all else fails. 561-8255. Call me with your financially related question, and I'll be glad to put your name in the drawing for the dinner for two on Tavola. I'll even pay the tip. We did a drawing, a couple of weeks ago, and we sent the card out to the individual. So they'll have a dinner on me, the caller and his significant other. So give us a call. We'll take your call first when we come back from the break. And if we don't, I'll have to monologue. Boo. So call me, 561-TALK, 561-8255. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates. Low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. The producer says we don't have any calls. Considering we've had some terrible weather lately, but today is absolutely gorgeous. I can understand that. You're outside enjoying the weather. But, if you miss it, then get on my YouTube channel, Financially Speaking NC, and you can always watch the program later if you'd like. All right. There's just so much going on. Inflation has been the bugaboo now for a few years. And we got an inflation report that people are cheering. The market is cheering. The so-called experts are cheering. And you just wonder sometimes if people can read. You just have to scroll down in the inflation report and see that it's just not all sunshine and unicorns and things like that. But there's actually a certain denomination, Christian denomination, that actually advises their people not to read the Bible. Just let somebody else explain it to you. Well, that's bad. That's not good advice at all. And I would tell you, don't let somebody else tell you what this inflation report is saying. Pull up the report and read it yourself. It's in plain English. It's not legalese. And read it for yourself. This is one of the reasons myself and actually Peter Anderson have come on the program and said we didn't believe there were any rate cuts coming this year. And we've certainly been more right than wrong. I mean, January, February, people were predicting 7 cuts. And at that time, we said, no, we don't believe there's going to be any cuts until the 1st of 25. There haven't been any cuts, and there still may not be any. You said, well, Jim, inflation's down. Well, kind of, sort of. Not like, it's not like we need to have ticker tape parades right now. And let me explain what I'm telling you. I'm hoping you know how to read, but you can pull it up yourself. It's pretty obvious, really, if you pay attention to the details. In the most recent inflation report, which was just released, we're not in the clear yet. They're cheering the 2.9% inflation, which the government said is the smallest 12-month increase since March of 2021. On the surface, it seems like decent news, and I'm sure the administration will pat themselves on the back and say, hey, we've done a great job, and more work to do, but we've done a great job. But it's not quite as good as you might think. One glaring issue is the fact that inflation first reached 3% in June of 2023. That's right. June 2023, it touched 3%. So to get to 2.9% from over a year ago just doesn't sound like a whole lot of progress. But that's really not the issue I have with it. It's how they're determining the inflation rate. The headline inflation number means that the CPI, Consumer Price Index, has increased by 2.9 over the last 12 months. But they also track this on a monthly basis. So in May, for example, the monthly increase in inflation was unchanged at 0%. In June, the inflation rate actually fell month over month, 0.1%. But what they do is they say, all right, let's pull out this and this and this and just look at maybe core inflation. And that's the number that we'll publish. And that's what you hear about. But electricity prices are up almost 5% year over year. So they say, let's look at these things, leave these things out of the number. But the things they leave out of the number are things that everyone has to pay for. We all have to have it. We all have to have electricity, don't we? Well, electricity prices up almost 5% year over year. Shelter, rent, and housing costs. Do you have to have shelter? I think that's one of Maslow's basic needs, is to have shelter. They're up almost, or actually up more than 5% year over year. Medical costs. Do you need medicine or treatment sometime or another? Yeah, probably. They're up 3.3%. Services in general, which include everything from child care to tax preparation, are up almost 5%. Transportation. You have to have transportation? Transportation is up nearly 9%. This is in the very same report that they published a 2.9% inflation rate. You just have to read down through the report. Motor vehicle insurance, your car insurance. You have to have car insurance? Yeah, legally, you have to have car insurance if you drive. Motor vehicle insurance is up 18.6%. How about food? I think this is the area that most people talk about. Meat, poultry, fish, eggs, the index rose 3% over the last 12 months, while prices of vegetables fell 0.2%. That's not so bad. But eating out is up over 4%. And to be honest with you, most of my family's eating is eating out. As you've noticed, that most of these numbers I've shared with you are higher than the 2.9% published headline inflation rate. Well, there's a minor dip in gasoline prices year over year, but that's relatively minor at just 2%. So, big decline that's dragging the average inflation rate down is used cars. Price of used cars have gone way down, and that's a big part of this inflation number they're using. And I've got news for you. The reduction in prices of used cars has pretty much reached the bottom. It's plateauing, and used car prices are not going to go down much more. And so that is not going to have a negative effect on the inflation rate going forward like it has. So I would be as bold as to say that the next inflation report could see a higher rate than current. It could be higher than 2.9 next time, because used cars are not going to have a negative effect on the inflation rate. So according to this very same report, used car prices are down nearly 11% over the past 12 months. Not going to happen the next 12 months. The reality is that there's still a lot of inflation in the real economy. And the government's own numbers support that assertion. This very report that the government released will support that. So just read, read. Don't be like that denomination that tells people not to read the Bible. Read it for yourself. Figure it out. This is why I don't know that we will have a reduction in rates, because the Fed sees all these numbers and they're smart enough to figure it out. We may have a rate increase, but one maybe. And again, at the beginning of the year, many economists and financial gurus, were predicting 7 rate reductions. That's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. All right, we're about midway, so what we're going to do is going to go ahead and go to a break, and hopefully somebody will call me with a great financially related question, something that's personal and pertinent to them. Would love to talk to you about something. So give me a call at 252-561-TALK. See, I remembered it that time. 561-8255. If you call me with a financially related question, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Altavola, and I'll even pay the tip. Would love to do it. Altavola is a great place to eat. I eat there at least once. There's sometimes twice a week, because they have a great lunch and a dinner menu. So give me a call during the break. We'll take your call first when we come back, and I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, and producer tells me that Chad from Jacksonville is on the line. Chad, go right ahead with your question.
Hey, how you doing today, sir? I just wanted to call in.
I'm doing better than I deserve, Chad. How about yourself?
Ditto, sir.
Good.
I just wanted to call in and talk to you a little bit. I'm 41 years old, getting ready to retire out of the military, and just kind of wanted to see, as far as, our retirement, TSP, life insurance, just sort of those kind of things that I should be thinking about for myself and my family, and just kind of get your advice.
Whew. That, Chad, is a financial plan. And I am a certified financial planner, and that's what I love doing, actually. And what you've just done is like going into your physician's office and saying, "Doc, I've got a pain in my abdomen. What do I need to do?" And if he immediately wrote you a prescription, he's engaging in malpractice. What he needs to do is look at your medical history, run some tests, create a diagnosis, a prognosis, and then perhaps he can prescribe something that'll help you get better. And that's essentially the way a financial planning process works. It requires a lot of information, but it looks at everything that you've described there and more. It looks at everything that makes you what you are financially. And you get a book that spells it out. So anxiety goes away for the most part, because then you know where you are, where you're going, how you're going to get there, what is required of that, and to do that, achieve your goals and ambitions. And so, we would need to do a financial plan for me to answer those questions. It'd be impossible for me to recommend, in all those areas on a radio program. It would be, I'd be engaging in malpractice. I am sorry. But if you have a very specific question about one of those areas, I'll be glad to try to answer that on the air.
The biggest one is before the TSP program over from the government entity to into a private company, and I would guess how that works, what the limitations, if there's any sort of penalty, or how that works in general.
All right, you broke up a little in the beginning. If you'll just give me the first part of that question again, so I can pick it up.
Yes, sir. So just looking at the TSP, transferring that from the government side of the house to the private sector.
Mm-hmm. The PSP?
the thrift savings program that the
Oh,
government employees.
gotcha. Yeah, that's pre-tax, is it not?
So there is a Roth and a traditional. Before they offered the Roth, all they had was traditional. So I do have a certain amount of money in traditional.
Yeah, but both of them would be treated the same. You can actually do a rollover of those into an account with an advisor if that's what you're choosing to do. And there would be no tax ramifications, no penalty, no withholding, no nothing like that. You're just moving money from your right hip pocket to your left hip pocket. And then you would work with an advisor on those accounts from there on. So traditional, you would have an IRA rollover account that money would go into, the pre-tax money. And then the Roth, you could open up a Roth and roll the Roth money into that as well. And you would have no taxes or penalty to pay on that.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for calling from Jacksonville. I appreciate your tuning in and more especially having the gumption to pick up the phone and call me.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Pleasure listening to your show. I wish you
Well,
the
thank
best.
you very much. Thank you. Great question.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Super. I hope Chad, if it's not me, I hope he does get with a certified financial planner. It's a person that has a comma CFP behind his name and gets a financial plan done. Sounds like it's really what he needs to do. But great question. And I haven't had many calls from the Jacksonville area. I know the signal is strong that direction, but that's cool. That really is cool. I appreciate that. Jacksonville, I wonder if he's either current or former military, and he was talking about a government plan. So I'm going to use my detective spidey senses and say that he's probably either current or former military, somewhere in that range. All right. Number is 561-TALK, 561-8255. Call me with your financially related question, and your name will go into the drawing for the dinner for two at Ontavola. And yes, I'll even pay the tip. All right. Let's see. Where are we in time here? We're at 6:22. Yeah, I've got two things. I don't have time really to do both. I won't do this one. I have so many people come into my office with some preconceived ideas because they're getting emails or texts from sources that have a dog in the hunt. They're trying to get you to do certain things, buy newsletters or book. But, fear is really what they specialize in, and that's the motivating factor behind you buying what they're offering, their service, whatever that is. And one of the things that I hear from clients constantly is, I'm just afraid that if so-and-so gets in office, that the economy is just going to crumble, the markets are going to go to Hades in a handbasket, and it's just it's just the end of it. It's just the end of what we know about having an economy and money and that kind of thing. You wouldn't believe how many times I hear that. And I have shared this before, not exactly in this forum, but I've shared information about who's in office and the kind of markets that we have. And I've also told people on the program and in person and at meetings that we have to make decisions. We have to plan and invest as though the future were going to be something similar to the past. Because there's no way for us to know that it's not going to be similar to the past. And the past is our guide. History is our guide. We have to look at history and make decisions based on that and all the information that we can ascertain currently. we can't assume that because we dislike a particular party or a particular person representing that party so much that it's going to be extremely detrimental to the economy and markets if that person gets in office. We just can't assume that because it hasn't been that way. Well, Jim, hasn't, if this party was in, hadn't the markets gone nuts and crumbled and all that? And there's not one party that has consistently caused the economy and or markets to be bad. Not one. Except the Communist Party, wherever they spring up, USSR is no longer in existence. Think about that. Many communist countries have just gone completely under, and now they're quasi-democratic. Not Soviet Union. They're still ruled by a dictator called Putin. But let me share some information with you. What this information is, it shows a 10-year period from the point that a particular party's election year, when they were elected into office, but when it began, what kind of return. And this is provided to me by American Funds, and they happen to use one of their funds, the returns on one of their funds, which is Investment Company of America. And that's how they're measuring how the markets have done. That particular fund is a blue chip fund, so it's all large companies that pay dividends and companies you would have heard of. So let's just look at a few of these. Now, does everything go better when it's a red Oval Office or a blue Oval Office? The answer is yes. In both cases. All right, 2012, a Democrat was elected. The next 10 years, money in this fund, if you put $10,000 in, it would have quadrupled by the end of the 10 years. 2008, Democrat was elected. Next 10 years, the money would more than doubled. The second best period ever was 76 to 85. Democrat was elected in 76, and the money would have quintupled. The best ever, a Republican was elected in 1980. You know who. And through 89, end of 89, the market would have, 10,000 would have grown to $53,000. A lot of that was the Reagan years. I could go on and on. There's really good blue 10-year periods, really good red 10-year periods, really bad red 10-year periods, really bad blue 10-year periods. It just, you just can't hang your hat on the fact that if one particular party is either in power or not in power, that the market and the economy is going to do thus and so. It's just not going to happen that way. It hasn't historically, and I'm just going to tell you that it's not going to happen that way. It's not. So whoever is elected in November, the markets and the economy the next 10 years are going to do just fine. So if you run for the hills because your person was not elected, you're making a mistake. You need to stay invested. That is not a fundamental factor, not a fundamental reason to sell off. All right, I have music in my ear. That simply means I'm out of time. And I appreciate the call, Chad. And everybody stay tuned to the program and call me with a question. And as always, this is Jim Taunton helping you make all of